Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to present our first Ohi Courage Award, Washington Ohi Day Foundation Advisory Board member, Jim Chanos.
Good evening. 4 years ago, the world held its breath as the citizens of Hong Kong rose up to protest their government's craven submission to China's Communist Party in attempting to enact legislation giving the People's Republic of China broad extradition powers in Hong Kong proper. This attempt was in clear violation of the One China, Two Systems Accord reached 25 years earlier between the UK and the People's Republic. As the rest of the world registered its outrage diplomatically, the young people of Hong Kong bravely took to the streets to protest directly. Over the next few months, over 10,000 Hong Kong citizens were arrested, roughly 2,600 suffering injuries, with 20 fatalities linked directly to the demonstrations. Furthermore, and more germane to tonight's proceedings, over 2,700 protesters were charged with crimes effectively by Hong Kong's new Communist Party overlords. China itself responded in 2020 with a harsh new Hong Kong national security law, which in effect eliminated the sovereignty safeguards of the original 1997 treaty. Yet still, hundreds of brave young freedom demonstrators currently face draconian prosecution from the Chinese Communist Party courts for exercising their then legal rights to protest unjust laws. It is in the spirit of the brave Greeks of 1940-41 who stood up to authoritarian tyranny that tonight we award the Ohi Courage Award to Hong Kong's democracy activists. Thank you.
The celebrations in Beijing are underway, marking China's emergence as a global power. Presiding over the event is China's leader, Xi Jinping.
2个100年奋斗目标，实现中华民族伟大复兴的中国梦，而努力奋斗。
Back in Hong Kong, Momo is getting ready for action on the streets.
咁咧，呢一個咧就係民陣嘅法律支援嘅電話號碼，咁我就可以容易啲俾人，唔係我自己可以容易啲打到啲。
Facing arrest for their actions, most are wearing masks and using aliases to protect their identities. They say they're fighting for their freedom against the communist government of China. China says they are radicals, thugs, and separatists. Momo is a nurse in her late 20s. When she was a child, Hong Kong was a British colony. On June the 12th last year, Momo was one of tens of thousands who took to the streets. Hong Kong's government had proposed a controversial extradition bill that would allow criminal suspects to be sent for trial in mainland China. Momo is heading to the front line. She's recorded a message for her parents.
對唔住啊，爹哋媽咪，做唔到你哋想要嘅安分守己嘅一個女仔。我而家呢一刻寫呢個遺書。 係因為我驚我唔知自己幾時會俾人捉，或者係會俾人。
I had to be mentally prepared to be arrested or even to be sent to the prison.
At 22, Agnes Chow is already a veteran of pro-democracy protests. She's not worried about showing her face because she's already known to the authorities. She was recently arrested.
We want to choose our future by ourselves.
The protesters face up to 10 years in jail for rioting. so the stakes are high. Agnes is scheduled to go on trial soon. She faces up to 5 years behind bars.
Joshua Wong is drawing official complaints from China with his tour of foreign countries. Wong is here in Germany, where he's met Foreign Minister Heiko Maas, a meeting that led to a diplomatic complaint from China, which called the meeting disrespectful. He had been detained for 24 hours by authorities at Hong Kong airport. Don't you think the protests might have gone too far, Joshua?
I think the protest must continue with our calls on free election. Of course, no one would enjoy to see clash and violence happen, but we hope to have the right to vote.
On the Hong Kong subway, he looks like any other kid, but this 17-year-old is far from ordinary. In July, he helped rally 300,000 people to the streets of Hong Kong for an annual pro-democracy march and the right to choose their next leader. Just days ahead of a planned Occupy movement, he was arrested and taken away. But Mr. Wong continues to fight for democratic reform.
冇諗過政府會咁樣對我哋，好似中國咁樣，即係直頭係好似中國嘅法治咁樣。佢想我哋噤聲，佢唔想我哋講咁多嘢。
我覺得今次成場運動係對抗呢個極權嘅一個開始，而唔係最後一節。同其他人傾偈嘅時候，我哋都會有啲安慰嘅就係叫醒得越嚟越多香港人。
We have to confront them head on because this is going to be a long fight. If we just surrender, we will lose the rule of law, we will lose the freedom, we will lose everything.
我覺得我喺呢場運動裏面，我做嘅事係正確嘅。我好希望未來嘅香港會因為有我哋呢一班抗爭義士嘅出現而有所改變。做得最啱嘅事係呢一樣。
We consider ourselves as Hong Kongers.
It means determination.
I consider myself as a Hong Kong.
It means fearlessness.
And we never surrender.
No matter what you do to us, we will let you know what we want.
And to me, that is a Hong Konger.
I have long determined not to be frightened by fear. Don't think about the consequences. Do what is right.
寧為入睡，不為啞傳。
To receive the 2023 Oh Courage Award for the Hong Kong democracy activists, please welcome former political prisoner and Hong Kong Democracy Council board member, Alex Chow.
Today, Hong Kong bears the weight of 1,672 political prisoners, all of whom dared to participate in the 2019 pro-democracy movement. Each of these individuals carries a distinct story, and here's mine. 6 years ago, in October of 2017, I found myself among the few dozen political prisoners unjustly incarcerated by the Hong Kong government and the oppressive People's Republic of China regime. It was a dark chapter in my life, but it ignited a flame within me. A glimmer of hope emerged the following year when US congressmen, including our dear friend Mr. Chris Smith, who just gave a remark earlier of the time, nominated 3 activists for the Nobel Peace Prize: Joshua Wong, Nathan Law, and I myself. I vividly remember the moment I heard the news of our nomination. It filled me with a mixture of emotions, including fear. Being named for such a prestigious award meant that the three of us had become enemies of the state, akin to Liu Xiaobo, who paid the ultimate price for his symbolic defiance, languishing in prison. My mind raced back to the heart-wrenching memory of my mother's visit to me in prison. She came alone, and tears welled up in her eyes as she entered the visitation room. She saw me in that brown inmate uniform, separated from her by cold, unforgiving glass. There was no touching, no hugging, no whipping her tears away. As I walked out of that visitor's room, I made a solemn vow to myself. I would never let my mother shed tears again because of my political convictions. That determination led me to decide to pursue a doctoral degree in the United States in 2018 after my release. But life was never a straightforward journey, and escapism was never the answer. In the following years, I witnessed the relentless persecution of hundreds of my colleagues in Hong Kong. They were beaten, detained, persecuted, jailed, and charged by the government for their valiant attempts to challenge the status quo. It pained me to my core that I couldn't even prevent these brutal sentences from befalling my comrades. When I reflect on the concept of courage, I'm reminded of the Greek notion, ohi, the courage to say no to the Nazi invasion of Greece in 1940. True courage isn't about sacrificing everything for any cost at all costs. It is about dedicating yourself to something greater than yourself. It is about being motivated to offer your body and soul for the well-being of others and the collective. Just as the Greeks aspired to protect their families, friends, colleagues, human dignity, and freedom in the face of war, it is the same set of values, ideas, and dreams that the Ukrainians and the Hong Kongers are fervently striving to safeguard. To give another example of courage, sitting with us today with a 1 million Hong Kong dollar bounty wanted by the Hong Kong government is Anna Kwok, the person in a blue shirt, the executive director of the Hong Kong Democracy Council. She refuses to back down from her mission to advance the Hong Kong agenda in Washington, D.C., where the world needs a resolute voice to guide administration in dealing with the PRC regime on human rights, on economy, on technology, and on climate policy. Just as the Greek heroes stood up against Nazi Germany and Ukrainians continue to resist Putin's ambition, we, the Hong Kongers, are standing up with the courage to say no to the PRC dictatorship. It is a regime that tempts the world with short-term profits in exchange for the long-term values of freedom and democracy. Today, it's my distinct honor to stand here and receive the Courage Award on behalf of the Hong Kong democracy activists, especially the 1,672 imprisoned colleagues, friends, and ordinary Hong Kongers. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to the Washington Ohi Day Foundation, our friends, and our colleagues for recognizing the tireless dedication that Hong Kongers have shown. But the battle is far from over. This uphill struggle demands every ounce of effort, every available resource, and every resource of courage we can muster. We must stand united as freedom and democracy-loving individuals. I implore you to continue supporting us, to engage in dialogue with us, and to embark on this courageous journey alongside us. Together, we can forge a brighter future of all of humanity. Let's say oh he to fear. Let us say oh he to the PRC dictatorship. Let me end this remark with 8 Cantonese words chanted in the 2019 protests by millions of Hong Kong protesters, ordinary people. 光復香港，時代革命。Glory to Hong Kong, revolution of our time.